Example 3. Simplify y minus x squared plus y squared all over y divided by 1 over x minus 1 over y. We're going to start off by just taking the numerator and we're going to simplify this. So we're going to subtract these algebraic fractions. So we have y minus x squared plus y squared all over y. Now y we can rewrite as y over 1. So we have y over 1 minus x squared plus y squared all over y. So we are going to get a common denominator. So 1 times y is just y. So y is our common denominator. So 1 divides into y times. So we're going to have y times y on the top. Then we bring down the minus. And then y divides into y once. So we're going to have 1 times x squared plus y squared. Then we're going to multiply out our numerator. So y times y is y squared. And then minus times x squared times 1 is minus x squared. And minus times y squared times 1 is minus y squared. And that's all over y. Then hopefully you notice that the y squareds will cancel. So we have minus x squared all over y. And this is now our numerator. So I wrote that on top there because I'm going to have to rub this out to make space to work out the denominator. So y minus x squared plus y squared all over y simplifies to minus x squared over y. So next we want to simplify the denominator. So 1 over x minus 1 over y. So now we're going to simplify the bottom. So we have 1 over x minus 1 over y. So we're going to stick x and y together to become our common denominator. And then x divides into xy and the x's cancel, leaving us with y. So we're going to have y times 1 on the top. Then we bring down the minus. And then y divides into xy, so the y's will cancel, leaving us with x. So we're going to have x times 1 on the top. So then we multiply out our numerator. So 1 times y is y, and minus x times 1 is minus x. And that's our denominator. So we just write that in place of what we had. So we had 1 over x minus 1 over y, and it changes to y minus x over xy. So now what we can do is change the divide. So this big thick line here, we can change this divide to multiply and turn the second fraction upside down. So that's the rule for dividing fractions or dividing algebraic fractions. We change the divide, which is this big line here, this thick line, to multiply, and we turn the second fraction upside down. So y minus x over xy becomes xy over y minus x. So the division rule is turn the second fraction upside down and multiply. And then our multiplication rule is top by top, bottom by bottom. So we're going to do minus x squared times xy, and then y times y, and y times minus x. So we get minus x cubed y all over y squared minus xy. We can factorize the denominator, so take out the y as the highest common factor. We can cancel a y on top and a y on the bottom. And we're left with minus x cubed all over x minus y.